Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
Okay, so guys, in Kubernetes, understanding is more important than doing the things, because in Kubernetes everything can be done, almost every functionality can be availed with a matter of commands, one commands for each functionality. So that's pretty easy actually. So now if you learn, let's say 30 API object itself, that is more than sufficient you to try it out with the advanced Kubernetes scenarios. But it's not about the command, it's all about the understanding with Kubernetes. So you need to understand how Kubernetes works, how Kubernetes behave, how Kubernetes giving you ways in which you can run the data center. So everything we have to understand. So probably we'll spend good amount of time on this first half day. We're going to spend a time on that, only understanding how Kubernetes works. That's all. Because once you understand that how Kubernetes works, the remaining thing would be very easy for all of us. Okay, makes sense? So Kubernetes can bring health, wealth, and happiness. The question is, how can it bring health? For whom? Of course, for all of us. Wealth for your organization, and happiness for everyone. Okay, health for all of us, wealth for our organization, and happiness for all of us. Now the question is, how can it be possible? How Kubernetes can help us to build our health, wealth, and happiness? So for that purpose, we need to know what is Kubernetes, what is a Kubernetes architecture, installing Kubernetes, working with pods, working with deployments, and many more. So let's start with the first question, and that is, what is Kubernetes? So guys, Kubernetes, if you really want to understand what is Kubernetes, so you have to answer all these four questions. Where did it come from? What does it do? What does the name mean, and why do we have it? Something similar questions which you have, then I think we'll get to know what is Kubernetes. So what is Kubernetes? So Kubernetes is born in Google. It got donated to CNCF in 2014 as part of open source initiative. Written in Golang. The source code you can find at the GitHub. The website is kubernetes.io. Slack, meetups, groups are also there. Okay. Now the question is, where does it come from? So guys, if you look at this image here, there is a two product. One is Borg, another is Omega. Both products is proprietary product of what? Google. Now these two products specifically Google is using to run on their infrastructure. You see that Google infrastructure, which is highly available, highly scalable, highly reliable, and such a vast infrastructure can be managed with a few people, with just a few people. So just imagine how Kubernetes can manage your infrastructure. So here Kubernetes is not an extension of Borg and Omega. Kubernetes is not and a new release of the Borg and Omega. But DNA is matching, and there is a reason for it. Borg and Omega has something similar capability what Kubernetes has it, and same time Kubernetes has come from Google, and that's the reason we believe the DNA is matching. But exactly what are the other features which we have in Borg and Omega? Very little information is available in the public domain. So that is what it is. So where does this come from? So it's coming from Borg and Omega. At least the DNA is matching with that. Now the next question is, what is the meaning of Kubernetes? So guys, this keyword has been taken from one of the Greek word which is called helpsman. Now what is the meaning of helpsman? Helpsman. So helpsman, the person who steers a ship. Understand that. Helpsman is a person who steers the ship. The ship, it could be it's like a fishing boat, smallest fishing boat, or it can be a aircraft carrier also, right? It could be anything. But both the ships, look at the size difference. Both the ships can be managed by only one person, steers by only one person. That's called helpsman. So something like the Kubernetes also can do the same thing. Your data center is very small, or data center is a huge, large, very large. Both can be managed by Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is fit for every situation. Okay. So guys, in short, we call it KATS. So ultimately, yes, what is Kubernetes? So Kubernetes is born in Google, donated to CNCF in 2014, open source. First release has happened in July 2015, written in Google and many more. Okay. So guys, did you understand what is a Kubernetes? Any question? Any question? Okay. Now, next thing is why we need Kubernetes. We understand what is Kubernetes, then we understand why we need Kubernetes. So guys, these two statements is very important. Okay, why do we need Kubernetes? So containers bring scalability challenge. That's the first statement. And second statement is, we are starting to view the data center as a computer. This is the two important statement what we have. Containers bring scalability challenges. So now all of you have worked with containers. So can you please help me with how the containers bring the scalability challenges? Anyone would like to share your inputs? How? Guys, are you able to hear me?
Load balancing them.
More? Any other inputs? It's very important statement, and that's the reason I said you all have to understand containers and then Kubernetes. So please help me with it. How containers bring scalability challenges. Scalability, I said scalability. So your audio is very low. I don't know whether it's my side problem or your side problem.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah.
So it's container environment where you can run application Can you hear me? No supporting things like kind of all now. So it's kind of your inputs, everything will be up and runtime environment reside in application.
Okay. Any other inputs, guys?
Application without any supporting things. It's like kind of all your inputs, everything
Okay. So guys, let's understand.
reside in one container in order to run your application quickly and easily.
Okay. So let's understand the first statement. Containers bring scalability challenge. So guys, let's say you're running the data, application at the large scale. Now, this is one machine, one host. It can be physical machine or virtual machines. And Docker engine is here. Correct? Now, this Docker engine can manage this container, this container, this container. Okay. Now, maximum you can have a 3 container in that particular host. So now, if you expand it, if you want to scale, then what do you do in the world of container? What would you do?
Create more Docker hosts.
Create more Docker host. So I created more Docker host, and here you have a Docker engine again, and here you have a container. I need more Docker host, so I need more Docker, and Docker will manage the container here. Now guys, do you think there's something missing in this whole architecture? In this image, I have only 3 hosts, but in reality, you have 30 hosts, 300 hosts, 3000 hosts. So do you think something is missing in this? So guys, see here, there's a one issue here. One of the issues, important issues is, this Docker can manage this container. This Docker can manage this container. This Docker can manage this container. But the question is, do you have anyone who will manage multiple Docker? Docker can manage the container. Who can manage the Docker daemon at the different host? Are you understanding this? Guys, are you understanding this? Hello?
Some kind of, yeah, I'm able to understand.
Yes.
All containers, correct? Yes, we are understanding.
Yeah. So, who can manage the multiple Docker host? We need something. There is one more problem here in this architecture. So when you create a container get IP address, correct? Each container. Now this container and this container, I want to access from the load balancer. How can you understand the load balancer, right? Concept of load balancer. Can you tell me the concept of load balancer, how it works?
Yeah.
Tell me. Hello. Yeah, guys, because we are in online training, we need to interact with each other.
Yeah.
It's very important. Others, even I'm, yeah.
Yeah, so load balancing is when there are already some instances we have, for example, we have 5 instances, and one of the instances already started work. Load balancer will check if the instance are request. Not load balancer, another instance will be able to serve the request. already some, so it will like, we can instance is we have, for example, we have round robin scheduling, the round robin 5 load balancing that will take care of, first in first out, like whatever the instance is available will give it this. And one of the
Okay. Okay. So I'll just simplify this. What I'm trying to say.
it will check this already
Okay. Yeah. In fact, this problem is from my
take that.
Satyaraj. Are you able to hear me? Because I think your voice is breaking a lot, and
If it is not, I can hear you now.
yeah, whatever you were speaking, it was getting broken actually into the multiple pieces.
I mean, load balance to
I really don't know.
another instance will be able to serve the request. So it will like, we can like, for example, we can say round robin one instance is available and it will give the request to process. I can hear you now.
Okay. Okay, guys. So here, this is the one runtime environment. This is the one runtime environment. This is the one runtime environment. This has IP address. This has IP address. This has IP address. So load balancers will, first rule is, this load balancer should be able to connect to this. That's the first rule. This connection has to be established. Second rule, it should be different IP address. Okay, this should be different IP address, different IP address, different IP address. And third rule is same port. Correct? Is that right? Is that right? Hello? Guys, I'm really not sure whether you can hear me well. Yeah. So all of you, please, I request you all to be proactive in this session. Let me tell you again, if you do not understand how Kubernetes works, half day, then next 4.5 days will be wasted for you, trust me. And there is one more reason to learn Kubernetes, is this is one of the hot technology in the today's market for your organization and for the whole world. So it's a good skills to have it, anyone. So please have this motivation, and please let's coordinate with each other and be active with each other. Okay. So guys, did you understand this? How this load balancer rules are there? Network connected, different IP address, same port. Correct? Hello? Hello? Yeah. Now, on the same line, so guys, the first rule I said, in a data center, you have a multiple Docker host. So Docker can manage the container, but who can manage the multiple Docker host? Question mark. Now there is a second problem here. You have these two containers, both the containers is Apache. Okay. Now you tell me Apache runs on which port? No, Apache, sir. Hello?
APN 443.
So it runs on HTTP or runs on AT port, or HTTPS run on 443. So here I am talking about the AT. So this also running in AT. How the Docker networking works, you know that. Okay, I assume you know that. Now this Docker containers, will it get accessible to external load balancer? Will it get? Tell me, have you accessed the containers from inside to outside? How did you access? Surabhi?
We will forward the port and we'll ask access to the IP of the host.
Right, yes, you correctly said you're going to forward this one. So sir, if I forward this to the host port, what about second Apache? Will I be able to do that on the same port? Will I be able to do that on the same port? Sasmita? Sasmita, are you there? Nalina? Hello? Asha?
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, Asha. Any idea? So if you forward one container to the port, which is a host port 80, what about the other containers? Will you be able to forward?
Not sure.
Okay. So review. I think you said you know the Docker. Tell me. What about can I port it? Can I create a port forward two containers at the same port?
I hope not.
Okay, yes. You correctly said because in the host machine you have only one network. So yeah, different containers you cannot host. So this you can port forward. This you cannot on same port. See, you can do that 81. So that way load balancer will not work. See, that it's against the rule of load balancer. I said very clearly, different IP, same port. Both the rules are getting violated here of the load balancer. This can load balance this one, but this cannot load balance this one. So what is the use of running containers here? It's get wasted. CPU, RAM, storage got wasted. So guys, the problem here is how, understand that. This is the load balancer. How this each container will be able to expose to the load balancer with a different IP and same port. That is the question. How? Docker will not help us here. Docker will not help us here. The question is how. So here I am teaching you why we need Kubernetes. It's very important statement. Why we need Kubernetes? Containers bring scalability challenges. So we need some tool which can handle multiple hosts. We need some tool which can hold and which can make it available all the containers load balanced. One more thing guys, let's say how many red containers you have in this image? 3 containers. Right now because of some reason this one container goes off. So now we have two containers. So now these 3 containers should be created here or here. So here what I am trying to say, let's say you decide in my data center I am running 100 containers, but because of some reason, nodes issues or some other issues, hardware issues, it got 90. So remaining 10 it should be created. Now who will take care of it? And that is where Kubernetes coming into the picture. This question mark is will be resolved by Kubernetes. So guys, Kubernetes can manage a multiple Docker host. Kubernetes can manage help you to give the containers networking layer, so which will be load balanced with this specification, different IP, same port. Kubernetes can replace the remaining 10 container at the different port, a different node, and then get it going. So now guys, did you understand that how the containers bring scalability challenges and how Kubernetes can help you? Did you understand that?
Yeah, now we got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a very important statement. Now guys, second statement is very important also. We are starting to view data center as a computer. What is the meaning of it? Let me simplify this. Here what is happening? There is a one host. Okay. There is a one host. This is the one. And you are powered with multiple RAM. 1 RAM, 2 RAM, 3 RAM, 1 CPU, 2 CPU, 3 CPU, 1 storage, 2 storage, multiple storage. So you tell me a Docker is installed here. So Docker will differentiate this RAM separately, this storage separately, or Docker will view entire copy as a one compute unit, one compute device. What do you think? It will behave separately or one compute device? Guys? Hello? What do you think? Single compute device, right? No matter how much CPU you have. Yeah, in your laptop also you must be having 2 RAM right now, 2 CPU, right? So no matter how many CPU, how many RAM you get it in your host, Docker will view one compute unit. So guys, in something similar you have to have this kind of feelings in the data center also. Look at this here. In the data center, you are getting multiple node of Docker. 1 node, 2 node, 3 node, 4 node, 5 node. Now there must be some tool which should see entire capacity as one compute unit. Yes, one compute unit. Who can do that? Who can behave like that? Kubernetes. So here you have some RAM, here you have some RAM, CPU, this, that. So you should get all these things get accommodated into one, and Kubernetes should behave. Okay, I have this much of capability to run the containers. Multi-node cluster. This is the definition of cluster, right? Cluster. Okay. So here, these two important statements, please remember, containers bring scalability challenges, and we are starting to view the data center as a computer, and Kubernetes can manage it. Kubernetes can help you to scale and then manage your data center. Guys, now when you are in this session, you have to have a little bit of mindset change also. This is all about the pets versus cattle. Now what is a pets versus cattle? So till now in the world of containers, you are playing like a pets. Containers is your pets. You start the container, you run the container, you got inside the container, you access the container. Something goes wrong with the container, you troubleshoot the container and images also. Okay. Same thing you do the pets also. Pets, something goes wrong, you take to the doctor, feed them, bath them. So many things you do that with the pets. But today, in today's session, you have to set your mindset for the cattle business. Yes, that's true. You have to set your mindset with the cattle business. So what is the cattle business here? So think about, you are the owner of the cattle business and you are supposed to deliver the milk, 100 liters milk every day to the vendor, to your client. So if there's 100 liters of milk you have to deliver, let's say it's become a 99. So what you will do, you will say to your client, stop, wait, my cattle is not working properly, wait, and wait for that 100 liters of milk. I'll give you today only 90 liters of milk. Will they accept this behavior? Tell me. Will they accept their behavior? This behavior? No. So what you want to do? So you are not going to emotionally attach with the cattle. Immediately you will replace. Understand that? You will replace the old cattle which is not functioning properly with a new cattle.
To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the 3D99 plan and grow your skills immensely.
And new cattle, because ultimate goal is to deliver the 100 liters of milk at any given point of time. So it's the same thing I am saying in the production server. If you are requirement to run 100 applications, 1000 applications, because of to address this many customer, this many traffic, so you cannot say to all of your customer, like HDFC Bank will not say half of the customer, wait, we have some problem in the server and then we'll get back to you. No, we have to replace this faulty server, faulty applications, faulty node with a working node, because that is what it has been desired. But the question is, who will help you in this? In the data center where you are running the containers, who will help you in this and help you to manage the cattle business, and matching desired state versus actual state will be done by Kubernetes. So guys, what is Kubernetes? So Kubernetes is a container orchestrator. That means it can manage and orchestrate the container at the highest level. Kubernetes can do that. Okay. Second thing is Kubernetes is a workload placement. Workload placement means, see, in a cluster you have a multiple node. Now Kubernetes will decide which particular load, means pod containers, should get created in what node. So this has a default logic, workload placement. Kubernetes is an infrastructure abstraction. That means you don't need to know how this Kubernetes works, but it works. And you just need to know from the front end. That's the reason I said, right? You have only 30 commands and you are done with the Kubernetes session. But understanding how it works is very important. So Kubernetes abstract every complexity within, and you won't experience those stuff. So that way you don't deal with those kind of complexity and you start enjoying the Kubernetes. And Kubernetes help you to manage the desired state. Same story. Like if you have 1,000 containers running for the client, so when it will become a 999, it will add one more. Where it will become a 1001, it will remove one. So Kubernetes can manage to help you to manage the desired state. Okay. So guys, did you understand what is Kubernetes now? And why Kubernetes?
Yes. Yeah.
So some of the benefits also of the Kubernetes: speed of deployment. Yes. You can deploy within a few seconds thousands of containers. That's the power of Kubernetes. Ability to observe changes quickly. What is that? Ability to observe changes quickly. That means changes means releases, major releases, minor releases, patches. You want to patch, you want to apply hot fixes, you want to do the minor releases. So Kubernetes has a ability to manage all these things very quickly. Will help you a lot in this case. Now, ability to recover quickly. What is the meaning of it? So if you think that my deployment gone well, unwell, not good, so you can roll back also very fast. Yes, that's true. You can roll back also very fast. And same time, hide complexity in the cluster. Means you don't have to deal with it. What are the things, complex architecture which has been designed. You just enjoy the features. So these are the benefit of using Kubernetes. Same time, Kubernetes is moving fast. So if you think you learn today and after 6 months everything will be as it is, no. many things get changes, and this I've seen from last 4-5 years. Whatever I learned at initial stage, few concepts remain same, but many things got changed, many things got deprecated, many new thing has come up. So you have to always keep in line with the technologies and keep practicing it. Don't leave this technology after this training. Okay, so guys, this was just an introduction of Kubernetes. Now we need to know how Kubernetes works, basically architecture. So how Kubernetes can build your health, wealth and happiness, how Kubernetes can manage the desired state, how can Kubernetes can do the workload placement, how Kubernetes can do container orchestration and everything. So how it works, and the answer is hidden in Kubernetes architecture. So do we have any questions before talking about Kubernetes architecture? Any question? Any questions, guys? So let's get started. So guys, as part of the Kubernetes architecture, we need to understand masters, node, pods, services, deployment and many more. So let's understand Kubernetes at the big picture. See here, Kubernetes is an orchestrator for microservices app. So earlier I said Kubernetes is an orchestrator for container, which you know. But Kubernetes is an orchestrator for microservices app also. How come? So the question is, can you please help me? What is microservices? Anyone? Can you please tell me what is a microservices?
Maybe a huge product is like break down into simpler pieces, like minding their own business logic. So
Yeah.
that individual pieces are called microservices, and they talk to each other as per our algorithm.
Right, yeah. Very well defined. So let's see that here. This is a big product. Big product. How many features we have? 200 features. Now this 200 feature you will convert into small feature. Small 200 feature. Okay. All this thing is a microservices. All this 200 divided. Now this question is, earlier we were managing only one service, SOA concept. Now you are managing 200 microservices. Now who will help you to orchestrate? When I say orchestrate, manage at the high level. So that is what I am saying. Kubernetes can help you here. Yes, Kubernetes can help you. Okay, Kubernetes can help you, because once you get a multiple services, you get crazy. But Kubernetes can help you very easily. Very easily. How? Let's understand. See that this is a one football ground, and we have a team and we have a manager. Okay, this is the team. Now each team is having some unique quality. You know that, right? But they play soccer, they play football, and if they play football with certain objective, correct? And that objective that player need to fulfill, objective, goals, whatever it is. Now the question is, A question is, what should be the objective for each player in the soccer game? Anyone has idea? Anyone has idea what should be the objective? Anyone? What is the goal for the players?
To win the match.
To win the match. That's the end goal, right? So, anyone else would like to tell me what is the goal? Objective for the player? No? So
To
guys,
score a goal in opposite team.
yeah, I was looking for this answer. That's the reason I was asking multiple times. Okay. So if you have an objective to make a goal, then all the players will be near to goal post. But do you think that's where you can make a goal? If all players will go to near to goal post, considering and assuming I have to make a goal, then it will be a scenario like this. We will not be able to win. We will not be able to make a goal actually. Opposite teams, opponents will do the things. That is where the manager comes into the picture. Manager, aka coach, aka master. And this guy comes into the picture and this guy understands each and every one. And say, listen, I know you. I know a quality of you. If you want to be on the ground, if you want to play, you have to listen me. You have to hear me out. And if you do not hear me, I will take you out of the field. That's the power of manager, coach, master. Now with that in picture, each player start playing very well. See that here. Now the objective is not to make a goal. Understand that. Objective is not to make a goal. Objective is not to win the game. But objective here is to pass the ball to one another. That is the one thing. That's the objective. So you have to pass, each player have to pass the ball, and at the end of this you see there is a two player which is striker. Their objective to make a goal. So ultimately this way it's a coordination, right? If you do not coordinate well, you will not be able to function. You will not be able to make a goal. Objective will not be met. So here, all this player is controlled by manager. All this player is controlled by master. And if any player which disobey this mechanism, then manager keeps him out of the ground. So everyone is just passing the ball. Everyone has been instructed, do not run. Just keep passing the ball, and those team who pass the ball well, those team who coordinate well, wins the game. Agree with me?
Yes.
Now guys, you convert this goal, football, the soccer object, into the request and a response. You know that, right? In between the services, we pass what? We keep what we pass. Between the microservices, what do we pass? We pass the request and response. I requested you responded this one. So guys, in the Kubernetes, in the microservices architecture, everyone passes the request and response. And if anyone disobeying this pattern, there is a one guy who's Kubernetes who will throw you out of the cluster. That is called container orchestration. Kubernetes is a container orchestration, microservices orchestration. So Kubernetes is a microservices orchestrator tool as well. It manages your microservices. Let's understand this. This player you convert into the different roles. So now you see here different role in your data center. Someone is web server, someone is app server, someone is a database server, someone is a load balancer, someone is a cache server, someone is a log server. So you have in your data center, you have to run application, you have a different goal is what? Application. To run application, you have a different players, different microservices. Now who manages it? Kubernetes. Kubernetes manages all these microservices and control the request and response, and if you do not obey, Kubernetes will throw you out of the cluster. See here, this request and response is managed by Kubernetes, and Kubernetes control you who should talk to which one. Not like everyone should talk to everyone. No, others it will be chaos, right? Just like a football ground, everyone near to the goalpost. So who manages all these things? Kubernetes. And you see that this picture is interesting. See the HTTP server specifically. One HTTP server is in node 1, another one is in node 2, but the behavior is the same. Look at this. Behavior is not changed. So who's managing all this stuff? Kubernetes. So guys, did you understand that how Kubernetes can help you to orchestrate the microservices? Okay. So
Can you please repeat it once again? So I'm not understanding.
which one?
Rajesh, can you please repeat it once again?
Yeah, I'm saying.
Kubernetes how to manage these microservices.
Okay, how part I will teach you during the demo. What is the feature of Kubernetes I am talking about right now. So here you see, this is a different team you can consider as a different microservices. If the microservices you run without a controller, without a orchestrator, then they will not be able to serve the request and response as expected. That is where the manager comes. Kubernetes comes. Kubernetes give guidance to each player and saying that you should talk to which one and what should you talk. Request and response. So same way, these are the microservices and Kubernetes master. Kubernetes give the guidance to each microservices, so the behavior is same as expected, and that is how the request and response is served. So that is what I was saying here is Kubernetes is an orchestrator for microservices also. Kubernetes is an orchestrator for container also. So many features are there with the Kubernetes which we need to understand. Got it?
Rajesh, a question here.
Yeah.
You were repeating that if the microservice doesn't behave the way it has to behave, it will be kicked out or something. So what does that actually mean?
Kicked out means, see, to one applications to work, okay, to one applications to work, all these requests, different requests to serve, many microservices create a one pool actually, from the front end to the back end, from back end to the front end, to request, receive the request, send the response. Now, if some microservices will not behave properly, then immediately the replacement will be happening. So that microservices will be, see, when I say pulled out means, kicked out means what happens in the ground. If one player is not doing well, so they will call it off and they will send another player. Something similar, Kubernetes will do that. Okay, so you can write a network policies. Okay, so if one container is not accessible, one service is not accessible. Now the question is, what is the service? I need to talk about it. If one service is not accessible, use the something similar service which has the same functionality. Something like that. Got it?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So guys, this is with this, understand that architecture. Kubernetes architecture has these few components. Look at this very carefully, this image. Master, and you see behind this there can be multiple master, because you know that without coach players would not play properly. So we need to have let's say one master you cannot rely on. So we have a multiple master. So if one goes down, you have another master. Now master and manages the node. You see here node, multiple node. This forming together, master and node forming together, and that is being called as a Kubernetes cluster. That is being called as a Kubernetes cluster. So Kubernetes cluster has a master and a node. Okay. Now who controls the master? See that there is one package deploying in the master. See always understand that package is being deployed in the master, and that package you develop, and that is your job. Okay. So here, if you look at this, you have a master, you have a node, and you have a package. And only these three things you need to understand in the next 5 days. That's all. Only these three things. You need to know master, how master works, setup master, configure master. Then you need to know what is a node, how node works. You need to configure node. And then you have to write a deployment package. And deployment package, there's so many things. Plenty of things are there. And then you need to know how can you send this package to the master. And rest of the things will be done by master, not by you. Make sense, guys? So at the high level, did you understand that master, node and deployment package? Let's move on. So master is in charge and node is doing the work. Guys, now node have a pod. Node have a pod, and inside the pod, do you have any idea what is the sign inside the pod image? What is the icon? Yeah. So node have a pod, and pod has a container, and container which you know very well. Most of you have said you know Docker well. You have worked with the Docker. Docker do nothing but create a container. Okay. So pod, what is pod? I don't know right now. I don't know. But what is container? I know. What is node? We know. Master will come to know. So many things will complicate. But here by now in terms of architecture, we got to know we have to write a deployment package, send it to master. Master who is in charge, can be HA, multiple master is possible. Master send this work to that node who's really doing the work. Node has a pod and pod has a container. Will you remember so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, let's complicate. What is a master? So in this whole architecture, we are focusing only on master right now. Understand that? Only on master. So guys, master manages the node. Master is in Linux. Okay, look at this Linux. Any flavors? Master can be set up on physical machine, virtual machines, cloud, premises, anywhere. It is master. Node is also Linux. One important thing is, nowadays with the introduction of Windows 2019 operating system, Node can be Windows also, by the way. So this image need to be little bit modification as per the latest update. So Node can be Windows also nowadays. Master has 4 important components. Look at this. Guys, three component is not repetitive, but extreme left side is getting replicated. So what is that? So yeah, master has a 4 important component. Master can be HA, multi-master, to make sure that cluster is never down. Ultimately, master has a 4 component. Master manages a node. Node has a pod. Pod has a container. Guys, there is one more thing I noticed just now. Pod can have a 2 containers or multi containers also. See that first image. Did you notice? So node has a pod. What is a pod? I don't know. We'll get to know in some time. But pod has a container which we both know well, which we all know well. And inside a pod, there is a one container, and inside a pod there are multiple containers it can be. So I got to learn pod may have multiple containers. Pod may have 1 containers. Pod is there inside a node. Node is managed by master. Master has a 4 component. What are those 4 components? We'll come to know. Are you okay so far?
Yes.
Let's complicate. Now we need to know which are these 4 components. Which are these 4 components? So we need to learn this one. Okay. So guys, first component is API server. This is the first component. Can you please read it? API server detail. So it states,
Hello, Rajesh.
what is that?
I have one question here.
Yeah. Sir, request you to be close to the mic actually, because your audio is coming to me, but it's very low.
Okay. Now it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, so you said master means it is a cluster, right? Is there any difference between master as well as the cluster?
Sir. Here, look at this image. You will get answer automatically. See here. Cluster means what? You see that here. KH cluster. Look at the KH cluster. Kubernetes cluster. Has what?
Yeah, I got it. So you do have the master node pod. So your working combination is the cluster. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah. So cluster means everything including except deployment package. Okay, which get deployed. Okay. Okay. So guys, first component of the master is API server. So what it states, it's a front end to the control panel. Now, sorry, plane, not panel, my bad. Control plane. So it is a front end to the control plane. Front end, okay, that's cool, front end. And it exposes the API, REST API. That means, if I understand that well, API server I can access through REST API. If that is the case, API server has to be HTTP protocol, correct? Is that right, guys?
Yes.
It has to be HTTP protocol. And interestingly, it consumes JSON. So that is the one thing which we need to understand. So it consumes JSON. So okay, good. I'm learning right now. I got to know control plane is a control plane, front end, REST API exposes with the REST APIs, consume JSON. Did you understand this? What is API server? Guys, did you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So those who have not understand, I'll give you new perspective. API server. So guys, there is a two word, API and second one is server. Now you understand API meaning of it, you understand the server meaning of it. So if I see this keyword, I think it is a server, of course, of multiple APIs. It is a server of multiple API, and that is the reason it is getting called API server. So I nailed it down. It is a server of multiple API. But the question is, what API? What API? Because API is an application programming interface, through that you can use application. So what API? So understand that this, guys, very simple thing. Kubernetes, forget about your application which you want to run in Kubernetes. That's what I'm not talking about. Kubernetes is also based on microservices concept. Yes. Understand that. Kubernetes is also based on microservices concept. So you must be wondering how. So each feature is written in one microservices. One feature, two feature, 30 feature, 40 feature, 100 features. All these feature is been accessed by multiple microservices. So if you want to use this, you can connect this. If you want to use this, you can connect to this API. But guys, do you think will you be able to remember all these endpoints? Let's say Kubernetes has a 200 feature. So how many endpoints you will get? API 200. So don't you think you get frustrated? Am I right? So what we have done, they have done, they said no, don't connect to each feature. I will put it together. We'll create one server registry, and this server will have this IP address. So now you connect to this and you tell me two information. See here, kind and version, kind and version, kind and version, like this. So in this, if you want to use any functionality, you connect to only one endpoint and provide kind and version, and I'll get you that. So this is a server of what? API, and this is the API server. Did you understand that now?
Yes.
So guys, many people, or even including myself, once upon a time, I used to think API server is the one. No. API server has so many features. So if you call the API server endpoint, you do not think you just call one endpoint. It can be multiple. It is multiple. So that's the API server. So in a simple way here I am talking about, it's a front end to control plane. Typically master view also called the control plane. Okay. So it's a front end to the control plane. That means guys, any feature which you want to, again understand that, any feature which you want to avail and get it done through the Kubernetes server, you have to get it done, pass it through API server. It's like this, guys. You are right now inside one room. So if you want to go out or in, you have to cross that gate, the door. Do you think you can communicate with, you can come inside that house, or you can go from inside the house to outside without a gate? No. So it's something like that. Kube API server is a front end to control plane. That means everything I said, not even one exception, everything it passes through API server. Look at the arrow also, you'll understand that. Everything it passes through API server. So guys, would you remember this? Would you remember this?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the first component.
Please enroll our general membership for $399 plan to get access of all the parts.
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the 3D99 plan and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.